Myself Padmaja, Associate Professor, Department of CSE, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about function concepts in Python. Now, first of all, what do you mean by a function? A function is a block of organized set of instructions that is used to perform a specific task. Now, why we use function? Functions provides us modularity and also code reusability. That means write the code once and use it multiple times. Now, in Python runs on a principle called drive. Don't repeat yourself. That means write the code once and use multiple times. That is called the code reusability. Now, using functions, program development and testing is very easy, and it is easy to manage multiple pieces of information at a time. Now, once a function is written, it can be called several times by different programs whenever it is required. So, functions are very important. Now, there are different types of functions. One is called the built-in functions and one is called user-defined functions. Built-in functions are nothing but the functions which comes along with the package. So, for which libraries are there, or that is divided into a number of modules. So, only we can call or we can use those functions directly from different libraries or modules. User-defined functions, you need to write it. Now, let us see one by one. Now, before the concept of functions or modularity, earlier programmers used to write monolithic code. What is monolithic code? That means a single block of code that does all the work that a program requires is called monolithic code. So, the monolithic code used to be very long and complex, and that has several disadvantages, like it is difficult to debug and difficult to extend. That means if any part of the program has some errors, then we need to check the code from the beginning. So, debugging is very difficult, and a complicated block of monolithic code can be decomposed very easily into a number of simple functions so that it is very easy to manage the code, and debugging is also very easy. So, complex program codes can be divided into a number of blocks or modules by using the concept of function. So, whenever a particular function is not working, or if there is any error in a particular function, we can only check that particular block of code instead of checking the complete code. So, the concept of modularity is very important in programming, and that can be achieved through functions. Now, functions can be categorized into three ways. One is called module concept, modules, then library functions or built-in functions, and then our user-defined functions. So, today we are going to discuss about all the three types. So, what do you mean by modules first? Let us see. Now, what is a module? A module is a file containing the Python functions and statements. Now, the standard library of Python is extended as modules to a programmer. That means a programmer needs to import only the modules or the functions which is inside a module in order to use it in a program. So, a number of functions, similar functions are organized, or a number of functions of the same category are organized into modules. So, Python contains a vast set of modules. So, whenever you want to use a particular function, we can simply import that particular module and all the functions will be active in that module. So, we can use any function in that module. So, after importing a module, a programmer can use any one of its functions or variables present in that code. So, basically, there are two ways to import a module in a program. One is using the import keyword. Second is a particular function can be imported using the from keyword by importing the modules. So, let us see today how to import a module and what are the different ways of importing the functions from a particular module. So, first way is the import keyword. The import keyword is the simplest and most commonly used keyword to import a module in a program. So, the basic syntax is import followed by module name. So you can import a number of modules at a time by writing a single import statement. So n number of modules can be imported using a single import statement. So here the syntax is import module 1, module 2, module 3 and so on. You can mention like this in your program. Now let us see one example. Now using the import keyword, modules can be imported to your program. So whenever a particular module is imported, all its functions and variables available in that particular module are active. You can simply use it by going through its syntax. Now, for example, we want to import the math module in our program. So you can simply write import math. So by executing the import statement, math module, the Python will look for math.py and it will create space where the module definition and variables will be created, and then we can execute the statements or functions in that module. So how to use it? Let us see. For example, we want to use the square root function which is available in math module. So you can simply write value is equal to, that means this is the resultant variable where we want to store the value of square root. This is the result variable. So is equal to, we can write down, this is the module name. This is our module name dot, this is the function name. So math dot square root of 9, and 9 is nothing but the value whose square root we want to find out. So you can simply write value is equal to math dot sqrt. So before that, so let me show you here how to write the code. So you can simply write import math followed by, you can write a variable or value is equal to name of the module math dot sqrt is the name of the function which is there. Then you can write down 25 or any value you can write down, and whenever you want to print the value of the variable, then you will get the square root of 25. Okay, so this is the way import keyword should be used. Now let us see how to find out the square and square root of a number using the functions, built-in functions which is present in the module math. So first of all, we have to import the math module and then use the functions present over math module. Now, so you have to write down import math, then read a number for which you want to find out square and square root. So n is nothing but the input. So n is equal to int of input of enter a number. So how to find out square root? So for that sqrt is the built-in function available. So write math.sqrt of that number. So it will give you the result square root of that number. So we are storing into the variable sq underscore root. Similarly, we want to find out the square of the number. Square of the number can be achieved using the built-in function power. So math.power n comma 2. So the number will be squared. So it is stored into the variable square. Then you print the square of the number and square root of the number using the simple print statements. So if you execute this program, then using the functions square root and power function, we can easily find out the square and square root of a number. Now, the second way is whenever we are writing import a particular module name, then all its functions and the variables are active. So you can use any one of the function or variable from that module. But if you want to particularly select or import only several or very few, if you want to import only very few functions from a particular module, you can do it using the from keyword. So from is used to get a specific function instead of the complete file. So whenever you are writing import math, then the complete math.py is created or it is searched, and then all the functions are active from that module. But we can only activate only few functions using the from keyword. Let us see. So from is used to get a specific function instead of a complete file. So if a programmer knows that which specific function to use, then it is better to use the from keyword. Let us see the syntax first. So from module name, import function name. So from math module, suppose you want to import only square root function. So you can write from math. Math is nothing but the module name. This is the module name. And I want to import only the square root as the function. So you can also write like this. Now you can write value is equal to square root of 9. So you can find out the square root of that particular number. Now here only the sqrt function is imported instead of the complete math module. So sqrt function can be directly referenced without writing the module name. Earlier we wrote like this. We wrote value is equal to math.sqrt of 9 we wrote. Okay. So if you are doing import math, if you are using this syntax, then we have to write down the module name followed by the function name. But if you are doing from math import sqrt, if you are writing like this, then simply you can write down value is equal to sqrt of 9. That means you need not mention that particular module name dot function name is not required. That is the difference. You can note it down. Okay. Now there is another way to write or to use a symbol, special symbol called star. So you can also mention using the from keyword if you want to import or the complete file. Okay. You can write from module name import star. So in this case, it will import everything from the module. Okay. This is same as writing import module name. So import module name you can write, or from module name import star you can write, so that all the functions variable which are available in that module will be imported. So these are the two different ways to import a particular module and to use the functions or variables present in that module. So this is about the module concept in Python. Now let us see the same program using the from keyword, that we want to find out the square and square root of a number. So how to write it? So from math import sqrt and POW, power function and square root function. Now read a number. So square root is equal to sqrt of 9. So math.sqrt you need not write. It's not required. Similarly, square is power. So power of a number. So square of power n comma 2. That means it will square it. Now you simply print it. Same program we have written twice to show you the difference how to use the function. Now after the module concept, we have the built-in or library functions available in Python. So these functions are built into Python and can be accessed by any user. Now for using these functions, we need not import any module. Okay. So a small set of functions are directly available in Python without using any import statement. You can directly use those functions. Those are called built-in functions or library functions. So Python has a small set of built-in function, as most of the other functions are partitioned into modules. So without importing any modules also, a few functions are available. Those are called built-in or library function. Those functions can be directly used by a programmer. So here I am showing a list of functions which are available in Python, which can be imported, which do not require any import mechanism. You can simply use these functions. These are called built-in functions or library functions. So in our earlier video, we discussed about these functions in detail. So today let us discuss about how to write our own user-defined functions. Now let us go to the topic called user-defined function. So functions that we write for ourselves to do a specific task is called a user-defined function. Now a user-defined function can be created or defined using the def keyword in Python. So def keyword followed by def stands for definition. Define a function, that is called definition. The keyword is called def. So def definition followed by function name followed by a list of parameters or arguments can be used. So here a user-defined function's declaration begins with the keyword definition def followed by the name of the function. Now, the function may or may not take a set of arguments or parameters. So, those parameters or arguments are normally written using the normal parenthesis. So, if the function takes a number of arguments or parameters, those arguments or parameters are given. A list of arguments are given separated by commas. If the function do not take any arguments, simply open the bracket and close it like that. So let me write definition. F1 is the function. Suppose a function do not take anything, so just open the bracket and close it, and then write a number of statement or statements. This is called the body of the function. So if the function takes some arguments, suppose for example definition f2 is another function which takes some arguments ABC like this, then put a colon and then write down a statement or statements. So this is the way in Python a function should be declared. So a function declaration starts with the keyword definition def. This is the keyword, followed by F1 or F2. These are called the name of the function. This is called the name of the function, and this ABC, these are known as the arguments or parameters. So a set of arguments or list of arguments can be passed that should be separated by commas, and at the end of the function you should give colon. Okay. Now the body of the function, this is called the body of the function. So the body of the function should be written with proper indentation. This is called the body of the function. So a body of the function is nothing but a set of statements which should be written with proper indentation to do a particular task or to do some specific task. So let us see the syntax of functions. Now let us see the general syntax of function creation, that is user defined function creation. So def is the keyword over here. So this is the keyword to define a function, followed by the function name. Then within bracket you can write down a number of parameters or arguments, but these parameters or arguments is optional. So it is not mandatory to write a set of parameters. If you do not have any arguments or parameters to pass, you can simply open the bracket and close it. Then inside the function, inside the body of the function, if you want to specify the documentation, if you want to provide, then you can provide the function docstring. So the function docstring, so within your triple quotes, you can mention the functionality of this code. That means what this function is doing. So you can mention multiple lines of documentation over here. This is called docstring. But this function docstring normally describe what the function does, but it is an optional part. If you want to specify what the function does, you can specify using the function docstring, that is using multiple lines of comments. But if you do not want to specify, you can simply skip it. That is called optional part. Then the function, whatever the function, you have defined a function to do some specific task, then the logic of the function you can mention through a number of statements. So these statements are called the body of the function. And once the function part is over, then the last statement of the function should be a return statement. But you can write a simple return. The function can be written in three ways. Suppose I am defining a function f1 and it takes suppose no arguments. Then I have written some statements I have mentioned like this. Then if I do not write any return statement, then automatically after execution of the function, the control goes to the calling function. But if you want to specifically mention suppose f2 is another function. So after doing the body of the function, if you want to mention the return statement, then you can write down a simple return. That means the control will go to the calling function without returning any value. But if you want to return some specific value like function f3, so it may take or may not take some parameters, then it is executing a set of statements to do some task. Then after that, if you want to return some value, you can return some value by writing the value, return value, or by writing some expression over there, so that the function will return some value to the calling function. So these are the different ways return statement should be written. Simple return you can write, return with some expression you can write. If you may not write return also, then also control will automatically go to the calling function. So that is the reason. So a function can be written, can be written using a return statement or without using a return statement, and this part is optional. Now let us see some examples on how to create a function and how to call the function. So a function should be invoked by calling it. So how to write a function and how to invoke a function or how to call a function, let us see through this example. Suppose you want to find out the addition of two numbers. So first we have defined a function. So definition, def is the keyword, add is the function name. This is the keyword to define a function. Add is the name of the function. Now whenever you write a user defined function, the name of the function should follow the rules of identifier. That means you should not use a keyword over here, or you should not use any reserve word over here. You should follow the rules of identifier and write your own user defined name. So add is not a built-in function name, add is not a reserve word or keyword, so add can be used here, and the name of the function should be a valid name, should be a meaningful name, that what the function is doing. So here my purpose is to do addition of two numbers, so that's why I have taken the name of the function as add. So definition add, and here a and b are the two parameters or arguments I am passing to the function. Okay, now in the body of the function I have not written any statement, but I am just returning the value, that I am returning a plus b, two arguments it is receiving, and it is returning one expression. This a plus b is nothing but return some expression. So you can write a function with body some valid statement or may not having any valid statement also. And now let us see how the function runs. So here to invoke this function, so I am writing here add a comma b. But what is the value of a and b? Let us take some values. You can read it from the console or you can directly take. So here I have taken directly a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 20. Now this is called function invocation or function calling or function invocation. So I am invoking the function by calling it, so by writing add, and what I want to pass, I want to pass two parameters, so a comma b, and this function, now the control jumps to this function and it executes. Okay, now it goes to the function header and it executes that function. Now after execution it returns the value of a plus b that need to be stored somewhere. So for that I have assigned a variable. This variable I have assigned to store the return value from the function. So C is the variable, so which stores the return value from the function. So the return value is a plus b, which is nothing but 10 plus 20 is 30. So the return value C contains the return value 30 here. Now when you will print the addition of two numbers, then you will get 30 here. Okay, so hope you understood how to define a function, then how to invoke a function, and how to pass arguments to a function through this example. Now let us write a function with docstring. That means if you want to write some documentation or comments for the function that regarding the functionality, you can write using docstring. So let us see, I want to print some message through this hello function, and this function takes no arguments, but I am using function docstring over here. Now let us see. Now define a function def hello. Hello is the name of the function. It takes no arguments. No arguments or parameters. Okay. Now here I am defining the docstring. So Whenever it is spread over multiple lines, use the triple quotes. You know that triple quotes are used for writing command lines in multiple lines. So triple quotes, triple single quotes or triple double quotes you can use. Now the first line is Docstring, and when called, a greeting message will be displayed. This is just what the function does. Some documentation I have written over here. Then the body of the function contains a print statement. Hello everyone, welcome to Python. This is the message which I want to display. And here it is a simple return statement. It will just return the control without returning any value. So this is a simple return statement. Okay, so our function definition is over now. Now let us invoke the function. So before invoking the function, if you want to see that what docstring you have provided and you want to see it on the console, then the docstring specified in the function can be accessed through the doc attribute of the function. So double underscore doc, this is the attribute. So through this attribute, you can see what documentation you have provided inside the function. So you can simply write method name dot double underscore doc double underscore. This is the attribute, doc attribute. So you can access this attribute and you can see that this is the function name. This is the function name. In this function, what documentation you have written or what docstring you have written. So function name dot doc attribute. So this will show you, when you will execute it, will show you what documentation you have provided in the function. So next I am calling the function so that the functionality, why you have created this function, that I have created this function to display some message over here. Hello everyone, welcome to Python. That statement will be executed. So you can see the output. First, you are printing the documentation string. So this two parts is nothing but your docstring message, what you have written in the function. And then I am invoking the function. So after invocation, it is executing the function and displaying the output of the function. So this is the way a function can be written with a docstring. Now, let us see one more example where the arguments which is passed to a function can be simple variables or it can be passed through some expressions also. Let us see how to use an expression for passing an argument. Now here, definition, function. Now to this definition, I am passing one expression. This is also allowed in Python. You can pass some expression as an argument. So here, expression is passed as an argument. As an argument to the function. Now, so this, while invoking the function, while function calling, I am passing one expression. So that expression is nothing but a mathematical expression, 5 plus 2 into 3. So that expression is passed over here. Now, here in the function body, I am printing a statement called hello students followed by that expression. So it will evaluate the expression and it will print the result along with a string. So in the output, you will find that hello students, and then 5 plus 2 into 3 is evaluated, which is nothing but your 11. So hello student followed by that expression value 11 is displayed. So you need to understand that while passing arguments to a function, expressions can also be written. Now let us see one more example. So where we want to check we will pass one number and we'll check whether that number is even or odd using the user-defined function. Now, for checking whether the number is even or odd, let us first create a function called even odd. So, definition, even odd, and n is the argument or parameter. We are passing a number. So, this is our argument or parameter. Right. Now, the number which you have passed, we are checking whether it is even or odd using this logic. If n modulus 2, if the number modulus 2, if you will divide by n, if you divide a number by 2, if its remainder is equal to 0, then return 1 and otherwise return minus 1. So we have written the return statements. So while invoking the function, first let us read a number. This is the function creation we have written or function definition we have written. Then let us invoke the function. So for invoking the function, first of all, you have to read a number. So n is equal to int of input, enter a number. Now after reading the number, we are invoking the function or we are doing function calling. So for calling a function, we are passing the value of n here or argument here, and the return value we are storing into a variable called flag. Okay. Suppose I'll pass n is equal to 5. N is equal to 5. So 5 is passed over here. So 5 modulus 2 it will compute. So 5 modulus 2 is equal to 0. No. Okay. Then it will return. The return value will be minus 1. So the return value minus 1 will be stored into the variable flag. So flag will contain minus 1. So flag is nothing but a variable which stores the return value from the function. So I'm checking over here by writing the logic. If flag is equal to 1, then you print that n is even. If flag is equal to minus 1, then it will print that n is odd. That means if it is not 1, then the return value is minus 1, then it will print that n is odd. So if you will provide n is equal to 10, then it will do 10 modulus 2. 10 modulus 2 is equal to 0. So the return value will be 1. So if the return value is 1, then flag contains 1 over here. So if flag contains 1, then it will print that 10 is even. In the earlier example, it will print 5 is odd. So through this example, you have learned how to write a function for even odd, then how to invoke a function and how to receive the return value. So after writing the return value, then you are simply checking whether the number is even or odd. So this checking part, you can do it inside the function itself. If you want to do inside the function, instead of return value, you can write down the logic there itself and you can check it. You can write down the print message in the function and do it. So there are different ways of doing the function. Okay, or writing the function for checking even or odd. Now, let us see another example of function, how to convert the time, that is hours and minutes total together, into minutes. So we want to convert our time into minutes using the function concept. So first of all, I have defined a function. Definition: convert time into minutes. This is the name of the function. Then I'm providing two arguments. I'm providing the number of hours and number of minutes. So first of all, you see the driver code where we are reading the h value, that is the number of hours, and m value, that is nothing but the number of minutes over here. And then this is called function calling, we are function invoking. So in function calling, we are passing the number of hours and minutes. These are called the arguments or parameters to this function. Okay. Now, suppose I am passing 3 and 15, 3 hours and 15 minutes. So I want to know what is the total minutes. So what is the logic for conversion? I have written over here. Minutes is equal to hours into 60 plus minutes. So it will be nothing but 3 into 60 plus the number of minutes is 15. So it is 180 plus 15 is 195. So 195 minutes will be stored again into the variable minutes. And then it is returning the minutes. So 195 is returned. So that value will be received by this variable. So here m contains 195. So the return value is stored into this variable. Now the total minutes if you print, you will get 195. So this is the way functions can be invoked, function can be defined, then it can be invoked, and we can execute or we can do our specific tasks. So thank you so much. In this video, we have learned how to define a user-defined function, how to invoke the function, and how to do our specific tasks. Thank you so much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.